As you may know, New York Methodist Hospital wants to build a new facility across the street from the existing hospital. The project will require the complete demolition of 16 historic buildings that the hospital already owns on 6th Street, 8th Avenue, and 5th Street. These 16 buildings include 103 units of housing, 6 of which are rent-controlled. Thus, more than 100 much-needed housing units, including many affordable ones, will be permanently lost, as well as 5 of the oldest brownstones in Park Slope. The proposed building will be a modern high-rise made of stone and glass and will not relate to the surrounding low-rise residential historic district. The building site is not in the historic district due to a carve-out agreement struck by the Park Slope Civic Council, Community Board 6, and New York Methodist Hospital. Although that same agreement requires the hospital to endeavor to respect Park Slope's sense of place in future development, we don't believe Methodist has honored this agreement. The project will permanently increase traffic with related impacts on air quality and pedestrian safety. New York Methodist estimates there will be 845 additional vehicles and 25 additional trucks per day once the facility is open for operation. And during the 3 years of demolition and construction, the project will create significant noise, dust, and air pollution. Trucks carrying debris, including hazardous waste, from the demolition and excavation will be traveling through many residential streets in the area. Shadows from the 150-foot-tall New York Methodist building will extend as far north as the north side of 3rd Street, halfway up to 4th, 5th, and 6th Streets toward Prospect Park West, and as far west as the middle of the 6th to 7th Avenue blocks on 4th, 5th, and 6th Streets. The entrance to the new Urgent Care Center, which will be open from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. 7 days a week, will have an entrance on 8th Avenue, commercializing this residential street and leading to increased double parking and traffic backups. New York Methodist has received approval from the New York Board of Standards and Appeals for a series of variances from the prevailing zoning restrictions. Preserve Park Slope has taken New York Methodist to court to reverse these variances. Separately, Preserve Park Slope has subpoenaed New York Methodist for any documents reflecting the hospital's contention that it has a programmatic need for a building of this size. Methodist has repeatedly failed to provide any substantiation for why it needs a building of this massive size, or why the building needs to be directly adjacent to the hospital. Evidence that the hospital presented to the Board of Standards and Appeals strongly indicates that it would not build the so-called as-of-right structure, that is, the building they could potentially build without variances because it cannot accommodate a floor plan conducive to good medical care. Yet, New York Methodist has threatened the community with building these 2 towers as of right if it did not get the requested variances. After careful study, Preserve Park Slope believes the as-of-right structures would be better for the community than the current proposal in one key respect. It would require the utilization of the area on top of the parking deck behind the Medical Arts Building, also known as the Rite Aid Building, making it unavailable for future development. Given the current plan, it can be assumed that in the future, New York Methodist would use that site to build yet another very large building. Indeed, a building of about 45,000 square feet would be allowed on that site even without a variance. Preserve Park Slope is the only organized group standing up to New York Methodist to defend the essential character of the community. Our lawsuit and other actions seek to compel New York Methodist to sit down with the community and develop a more responsible plan that would include sensible traffic controls. But Preserve Park Slope needs financial and other support in order to continue our advocacy and legal actions. 100% of all funds received are used directly for legal fees and other campaign expenses. This project is too big in size and scope. Let's work together with the hospital to make it smaller and more contextually appropriate for the neighborhood.